What up, y'all? This DJ Illmatic back once again, coming at you live and direct, straight from my crib, USA. Daily operation, episode 10. Here to chop it up with you about all the goings on in the gaming world today. All right, we're gonna start this week off like we do each and every week with electric relaxation, talking about the games that I played in the past week. I'll start off talking about Ori and the Blind Forest for the Xbox One. An amazing game. I encourage everyone to play this game. It is a must play if you have an Xbox One. This is an early favorite for Game of the Year for me. Now I know we have a whole lot of more months left and a whole lot of more games left coming out this year. But this is definitely an early front runner for Game of the Year, and I definitely think it'll be in the running at the end of the year when it's all said and done. I really love the art style. The art, it's a beautiful game. The art style reminds me a lot of Child of Light, which was my personal pick for Game of the Year last year. It's a platformer, Metroidvania type platformer. It's a difficult, but it's not too difficult. So far, and I'll give it credit. So far, I haven't reached the point of frustration with the difficulty. I've come close on a couple instances where there's certain parts that just didn't seem like I could get past, and I was reaching that point of frustration where I was going to turn it off and might not play it for a day or two, a week. And right when I think I just can't get past it and I'm through and I'm going to turn it off, I'm able to push through and get past that part. So far, Ori and the Blind Forest does a good job of balancing being a difficult or challenging platformer with not being too difficult. So that's something I'll give it credit for. The only criticism I have, and not really, it's a minor complaint, but I wish it was set up. The map is set up like a Castlevania type game, but I wish sort of like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, where you have certain checkpoints throughout the map that you can basically teleport back and forth to. I wish Ori and the Blind Forest gave you that option. Instead, they make you traverse the entire map. Wherever you're trying to go, you have to actually physically go there instead of teleporting back and forth. As you go, you'll unlock new abilities, and so portions of the map or certain special items you couldn't get before you unlocked an ability you can now get. And so now you have to traverse all the way back across the map. I really wish they had some sort of teleportation system where you could teleport to certain checkpoints throughout the map. Like I said, that's a minor gripe. Other than that, I love Ori and the Blind Forest. I encourage everyone to check it out if you have an Xbox One. Of course, you're checking out some footage of the other game I spent a lot of time with this week, and that's GTA 5. They finally launched the online heist. Got a chance to play them, and I have to say the online heist lived up to all of my expectations and my hopes and dreams going in. And I told you before that the GTA 5, the single player heist, probably some of the most fun I've had playing a GTA game, and so I was eagerly anticipating the potential of online heists and being able to play these same types of mission structures with your friends. So I jumped back in this week playing with a group of friends on GTA Online Heist, and I have to say, had as much fun as I thought I would. Rockstar has done a great job with this. Now, the day it launched, there were some connectivity issues. However, the next day, Rockstar released the patch, and since they released that patch, I haven't had any issues connecting with my friends and playing the online heists. Like I said, I'm really enjoying these online heists. I love the mission structures. I love how they're varied and the different types of things they have you doing. And so if you have GTA 5, I don't really have to tell you because I'm sure you've already jumped on these online heists. But if you haven't, if you're someone that moved along from GTA because they took too long to release the online heists, I would encourage you to go back and really jump back in because these online heists are everything we hoped they would be. And so you really need to do yourself a favor and check it out. Get with your friends and hop on these online heists and have a blast. Some of the most fun you'll have playing the GTA game. I also spent some time this week playing Valiant Hearts on the PS4. It's one of the free PlayStation Plus games this month, so check it out because the price is right. But I've had a lot of fun playing it. Now, of course, I'm really enjoying it because of the history aspects. It's set in World War I, and it weaves in a lot of the history within the story itself. And so I'm really enjoying it for that. That being said, it's a puzzle game, and so I would encourage you to check it out. Like I said, I really enjoyed it so far. Nice story that really gets you involved and interested in the characters and want to see it to completion. So Valiant Hearts PS4, free this month, so make sure you check that out as well. All right, next up we have Buck 'em Down. This is a segment of the show we buck down all the foolishness and the ignorance in the gaming world today. And the big news coming out this week was that Naughty Dog announced that they were delaying Uncharted 4 into 2016. This really didn't come as a surprise to most people. Even when Naughty Dog announced the fall 2015 release date, most people expected Uncharted 4 to be pushed back, and so now that they have announced it is being delayed, this didn't really surprise most people. It didn't stop fanboys from piling on Sony and declaring PlayStation to be a failure and that it was going to fall completely flat this year. PlayStation gamers wouldn't have anything to play, and oh, what are you going to do? Where are your exclusives at? All of this is foolishness for a number of reasons that we're going to talk about right now. Now, a lot of people criticize Sony saying they haven't had any great exclusives so far this console generation. I'm not one that buys into that line of reasoning. I really enjoyed the Sony exclusives so far, many of the exclusives so far this console generation. Had a whole lot of fun with Killzone Shadowfall. Thought it was a great game, especially for a launch game. I enjoyed Infamous Second Son. I'm someone that had a whole lot of fun with the Order 1886. I'm also looking forward to Bloodborne next week. And so Sony has had a really solid exclusive lineup so far. They haven't had that heavy hitter, that God of War, that Uncharted yet, but it's coming. It's in the pipeline. Uncharted 4 not coming out this year. That is disappointing, but understand if you're a PlayStation gamer and your only console is a PlayStation 4, you are going to have plenty of games to play this fall. The fall season is never wanting for games, okay? So if you only have one console and that's a PlayStation this fall, you'll be okay. There'll be plenty of things to keep you warm through those fall and winter months until 2016 hits and that monster that is Uncharted 4 finally is released. Now, if I concede the point that Sony hasn't had any great exclusives so far this console generation, it's not a point I agree with, but I'll concede it for this argument. It's important to remember that Sony has still been on a record-breaking sales pace since the launch of the PlayStation 4. Now, this pace has fallen back the past couple of months behind the pace set by the Nintendo Wii, but all in all, the PlayStation 4 has been a resounding success in terms of consoles sold since launch. And they're doing all of this without great first party games so far, and these first party games are coming. And so even if they don't have any other first party games coming out the rest of the year, Bloodborne will push some units, but let's say they don't have any other exclusives coming out the rest of this year, I'm pretty sure I'd be willing to bet money that at E3 there are going to be some things announced. But even if there's not, if they don't have any of these exclusives coming out the rest of the year, when Uncharted launches in 2016, when these other big developers, first-party studios for Sony put these other games out, these are going to help move consoles. But Sony's been doing it without all these so far. And so Sony's going to be all right. And if you are a PlayStation gamer, someone that only has a PlayStation console, even though you may be disappointed Uncharted won't be there for you this fall, those third-party developers are going to help fill in the gap until those games come. Exclusives can't sustain a console. Exclusives help sell units. They help sell consoles, but they cannot sustain a console. And I know this firsthand because I do all of my multi-platform gaming on the PlayStation 4. My Xbox One, I only play Xbox exclusives on that. And I can tell you, those exclusives cannot sustain that console. I had Halo, the Master Chief Collection, and that was the last game I had played on my Xbox since Ori and the Blind Forest. And that's not to criticize the Xbox. If you only have an Xbox, there are plenty of games for you to play. What I'm saying is exclusives cannot sustain the life of a console unless you're Nintendo. Nintendo, through Mario and Zelda and all them, they're able to sustain their console. They're not doing the numbers that Sony and Xbox does, so maybe you can't sustain your console on exclusives. You need this third-party support. PlayStation has it, so even without these exclusives, there are going to be plenty of games to play this fall, so Sony's going to be all right. Now, this story brings another question to my mind, and that is, why do developers feel the need to announce release dates so far in advance? We continually see developers announce release dates a year and a half out, and the question is why? Is the reward worth the risk? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing any developer for pushing a game back. I have never had any problem with a developer pushing a release date back. I am of the opinion you take as long as you need to create the game you want to create. And if that takes you more time than you thought it was going to take, that's fine. You release the game when it's ready. Because the last thing I want to see happen is you release a game and it's buggy and full of glitches, or for you to give an interview a year later and say, well, we really didn't get to make the game we wanted to because we ran out of time. I don't want you to ever say that. So take as much time as you need, make the game you're going to make. But I don't understand why developers have to announce release dates so far in advance. For me, it doesn't seem like the reward is worth the risk. Now, the reward, I guess, is that they want to go ahead and announce a launch date or a launch window so they can go ahead and have retailers start taking pre-orders. But if we're honest with each other, GameStop, if you announce a game, regardless if it has a release date or not, GameStop and other retailers will take pre-orders. They just put a placeholder date in, and they'll take a pre-order regardless. So that's not really a big reward. And oftentimes what you have happen with these games is the marketing basically goes on a roller coaster. And so when a developer releases a launch trailer for the new game, this builds up a lot of momentum behind the game. This momentum dissipates over the next couple of months, so they have to release a screenshot or a short video, builds up more excitement. Then this excitement dissipates over the next couple months. Then they release a demo, builds up the excitement, and it's an up and down thing. I wonder if it wouldn't be a much more effective marketing strategy for a developer to announce their game but not announce a release date or release window. So say, for instance, a developer comes out and says, hey, we're working on God of War 4. Here's the launch trailer. No, we do not have a release date or release window. We'll let you know when it's done. Put it out. Maybe going forward, every now and then you put out a screenshot or another video or another story or interview. Go to E3, go to Gamescom, go to these other packs, show off a demo. Anytime anyone asks, say, no, we don't have a release date or a release window, we'll let you know when it's done. And then when the game goes gold, when it's finished, announce, hey, we're done with this game. It'll be out 2 months from today. And so we can nail down a set in stone release date. And then you can spend that 2 months, first of all, thoroughly testing your game to make sure it works the way you intended at launch, but then also spend that 2 months putting all that marketing energy you were spending in that year and a year and a half to make sure people didn't forget about your game. Put all of that energy, all that marketing push into 2 months. Concentrate it into that 2 months and see if you don't get a much better outcome in terms of marketing. Now, I don't have a marketing degree. I know absolutely nothing about marketing, but I wonder if that wouldn't be much more effective. I'm hoping Bethesda tests this theory out coming up this year. Bethesda, pretty much everyone is confident Bethesda is going to announce Fallout 4 this year at E3. If they do that and then have it released in September, October of this year, that would really test my theory, because there's been a lot of rumors about Bethesda working on Fallout 4, but Bethesda themselves hasn't said anything. And so if they come out in E3, announce Fallout 4, and then announce it in October, this will really test my theory in terms of if this is not a much better marketing strategy. Because the risk is, now, Naughty Dog with Uncharted is going to be okay. Same thing for Rocksteady and Batman. Both of these games received a lot of criticism for delaying their releases. They're going to be okay. They're established IPs, and so even though people are going to complain, they're going to be there day one. But you take a new IP like Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs Watch Dogs was delayed. They received a lot of criticism for that, and I wonder if that criticism didn't ultimately hurt the game in terms of its perception when it was finally released last year. So we'll see how this works out going forward. I just really wish developers would quit announcing things so far out. If we're excited for your game, if your game looks great, we're going to buy it regardless. You don't have to promise us a date you know you're not going to make. But alright, y'all, that's all the time we got for this week's episode of Daily Operation. Once again, it's been DJ Illmatic, Daily Operation, episode 10. Once again, check us out at 8bitchimp.com for all that gaming flavor you savor, 8bitchimp.com. Once again, holla at me on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, DJ_Illmatic, like the videos, holla at me in the comments, check me out on Twitch at the same, DJ_Illmatic, and hit me up on Twitter, DJ Illmatic23. No space, no underscore. Once again, fat shout out to my organized gamers family. This DJ Illmatic, Daily Operation. We out, y'all. One.